Hello, Karen.
Hi, Lara. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Bet you're exhausted but exhilarated from all this incredible learning.
Yeah, isn't it fascinating how you can have those different ends of feelings at the same time? And I'm checking. We are truly live. I see it on my phone. We are truly live in Facebook in the ADHD Village. Welcome to everyone who's watching. This is Karen Tui Boyce, who's joining us all the way from across the world. Can you tell us where you're from?
So I am from New Zealand, Aotearoa, and I am in your future. I would have said that earlier in the recording. I am on. It's Monday lunchtime, so I want to let you know Monday morning has been amazing.
I love it. And where I am, it's Sunday evening.
Yes. So I just want to let everyone know Monday is going to be an awesome day.
I love that. What a great way to look forward to our Monday. We already know it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, just let me know any day you want to know if it's going to be good or not. I can let you know.
I love that. It's so fun. Hi, Becky. Yes. I see that you've hopped on live. Everyone else who's hopping on, just let us know you're here. Drop a little hello. Tell us where in the world you're coming from. What time zone are you coming from? Are you in the future or are you in the present?
Well, some of them might be in the past. Could they be in the past?
Yes. Yeah. Who would be in the? Oh, maybe our friends out in BC would be in the past because they're 3 hours behind where I am, or California. So I obviously am in the present because it all revolves around me. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I love that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start off with some prizes. That's always fun. So Suzanne Tucker has been offering 3 beautiful packages, and I'm only going to give 2 away today because Suzanne has asked that in order to be entered in the draw to win, that you share on social media something that you learned from her presentation a few days ago and tag me in the post so that I can see what you're sharing. So we haven't had too many of those posts yet. So I did a draw for 2 people who have shared. And I'll tell you who those winners are in a minute, and then we'll do another draw tomorrow. And Suzanne Tucker is really and truly she is the go-to person for emotional intelligence for wee little children, for those preschool kids, for the kindy kids. She's the creator of Generation Mindful. I just love her little snuggle buddies. The snuggle, I know, so cute, right? This is the hummingbird. And all the snuggle buddies have this little pocket, and inside the pocket are the different feelings. So these aren't the zones of regulation. They're different. So blue is like low energy feelings that are unpleasant, whereas the red are unpleasant, high energy feelings. So just a different way to look at feelings. So anyway, that's Suzanne Tucker, and I will let you know right now who the winners are. So I did the draw earlier. I've got them on my phone.
Oh, hold on. I've got my.
Yay. And our first winner of Suzanne Tucker's package is Becky. And Becky, you're on live right now. Yay! So congratulations, Becky. And Becky, I'm not surprised. You have been participating in every aspect of this summit. So congratulations. Somebody just said hello from the UK. It's midnight and I should be going to bed, but I'm keen to catch up on the talks from the weekend. Aw, thank you. So congratulations to Becky, and everybody, let's celebrate Becky, because celebration, as you know, is good for your brain. And our next winner is Ilana. Congratulations, Ilana. Thank you for sharing on social media. And so Becky and Ilana, I will send you a personal message to let you know how you can claim your prize. And we'll have one more of Suzanne Tucker's prizes drawn tomorrow. I also did a draw for the VIP All Access Pass. And the winner is Devrim. So congratulations, Devrin. I will send you a message. You get the all access pass. So if you've missed any of the interviews, you don't need to worry. You'll have one whole year to catch up. You'll get the action workbook and you'll get the baddest 21-day challenge for kids. So congratulations. So let's congratulate Becky, Ilana, and Devrin. Yay! Okay, so today is day 7 of the summit, and our theme is ADHD at school and collaborating with teachers. And I just want to say that teachers play such a valuable role in your children's lives. If you think about it, you have your kids in the morning and you take them to school. They're at school all day. And sometimes they even go to after school care before they come back home to you. So it's the teacher who's with them all day and through all sorts of different emotional and social experiences. And they get to see your children in ways that unfortunately as parents, we don't get to see. Like we don't get to see how they're working in a group on projects, or we don't get to see, what happens when the teacher tells them to line up and they're pushing and shoving, or like we don't get to see them singing their little hearts out maybe in music, like all the things. Like I cherish the time I have with my students in class, and I do try to capture as much as I can to share with parents. But really, teachers play such an important role, and that's why it's so important that parents and teachers collaborate and work together to support the children. And I really want to give a shout out to my son's teachers. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. My kids both have ADHD, so they require extra support and attention and love and effort. And I am totally grateful to all of their teachers for what you've done for my kids. And especially one teacher, my oldest son was fortunate enough to have the same teacher for 3 years in a row. And we call her a gift from God. And I tell her this, like, you are a gift from God. And she had such a significant role in my son's life. Like, she really helped him embrace his learning disability, his ADHD. She gave him tools so that he could access the curriculum, so that he could feel good about himself. And the impact was so strong that it rippled out into our family. Like, it changed our family life. So the way that teacher was taking care of my son at school, not only was he thriving at school, academically and socially in her hands, but when he came home, he was much calmer than before and got along better with his brother. And we were able to use the same strategies that he was learning at school at home. So thank you, teachers. Karen, you work with a lot of teachers.
Yes, I used to be a teacher. Well, I still am, but I used to work in the classroom, and now I work to empower teachers to be the best they can be and to help our kids the best they can. So, yes.
Yeah, and we go into teaching because we want to make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Just following on from your story, though, my daughter had the same teacher for 7 years.
Whoa.
And went to a alternative school, a Rudolf Steiner school, Waldorf education, I think you call it. And same teacher for 7 years, and we were blessed with that teacher. She was just incredible. And I think she knew our child better than we did. That was definitely true. But also, I think what teachers do see is often the best in the child, because when they come home, they're tired. And we say our worst behaviour for those we love. I yell at my children. I don't yell at the people I work with every day. I yell at my husband, not all the time, but but I wouldn't yell at my PA, someone I work very closely with. So, when we're tired, we save that worst behaviour for those we love, because it's a safe environment to do that in. So we often don't see the best behaviour that our teachers are seeing. And it's just like when your child goes to somebody's house to play and the parent says, they were just amazing. They helped with this and they did that. I'm talking about the same child, because like my child. So it's the same as
Yeah, that reminds me of a book that I loved when I was little called The Two Carolines. In the different situations, she had different personalities. Yeah. And you're right. When our kids work so hard all day at school to keep it together, to follow all the expectations, to stay on task, to follow all the social cues. It's exhausting. So when they get home, yeah, they're going to let it all out and take that mask off and be their true self.
Absolutely. So I spent 6 weeks in isolation at the beginning of COVID and embraced my inner introvert, which I didn't know I had. And now I actually love my inner introvert. And I even just get exhausted from peopling now. And I was the people party person all the time, and I can do the party thing, but I find I'm just so exhausted after it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good to experience that in yourself, and then you can connect that to what kids are going through.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and speaking of that, that's something that came up in Sandra's interview, which I'd like to get into Sandra's interview now. So Sandra is an expert in ADHD in females. And also she does have a background in education, and in her talk, she talked about advocating for your child in education. And something that came up in Sandra's interview is that ADHD in girls presents very differently. And often, like just what you said, Karen, parents may see the ADHD traits at home and the teachers aren't seeing it at school. With the boys, it's quite obvious. The teachers can pick up those boy ADHD behaviors very quickly because they're often hands-on, they're off task, they're running around the room, they're falling out of their chair. It's easy to see. But with the girls in school, they may be very quiet, maybe a little bit off task, daydreamy. But at home, parents might be seeing some of the emotional things, or noticing things differently than the teachers might notice. So if you're suspecting that your daughter has ADHD and the school isn't seeing it, like that's a good time to collaborate and share your observations and talk about how you can support. And something that came up in Sandra's interview was one of the moms in our ADHD village had that question specifically, that at home that her ADHD daughter showed all sorts of ADHD symptoms, but teachers weren't seeing it because daughter was such a teacher pleaser, and she tried so hard to keep it together all day, but she was working so hard to keep it together all day that when she got home, she was just exhausted and burnt out. So by collaborating with the school, if there's some supports that you can put in place, then maybe they don't have to work that extremely hard at school to keep it together. Like little things that you can put in place, like chunking the material for them, or allowing them to have some breaks. Oh yeah, and I wanted to ask too. So what Sandra was sharing too is that ADHD in girls often is not noticed, and girls are not diagnosed. So I'm curious, the women who are watching now, how many of you were little girls that did not get diagnosed? Say me if that's you. That was me. I wasn't diagnosed. I had great grades. Teachers loved me. And it wasn't until I was in university when I really started to struggle academically with focus. And the problem for women is if you're not diagnosed at a younger age, you become an adult and you may feel anxiety, depression, overwhelm, wondering like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I do it like everybody else? Like, why is parenting so hard? Why am I having such a hard time to juggle everything? And that it could be ADHD, and getting that diagnosis really can be a relief. It can explain those things that you're feeling.
Lara, I'm interested. Can I jump in here? I'm really interested in, often when you were at school, was it also quite easy? Did you find the schooling quite easy?
I always had A's and B's, maybe like a few C's here and there. I enjoyed school. I really loved school, so I really tried hard. But I did notice in high school, myself compared to my younger sister did not need to work as hard as I did. And I can remember my mom, bless her, would say, like, what are you studying so hard for? Like, do you want to go to the mall? Do you want to go to a hockey game? Do you want to do that? I'm like, no, Mom, I have to do my studying. Ugh, like, so learning came easier definitely for my mom and my sister compared to me. And then later on in high school, I had a tutor to help me because there's no way I would have gotten through calculus without a tutor.
I asked that question because I just see when school is easy for kids, they can just breeze through. But it's when it starts getting harder, so in high school or when they go to college or university, and then that's when the focus becomes the problem, or the behaviors become the problem, or the avoiding the work becomes the problem, because it's hard and you haven't actually built up strategies to be able to cope with the things that are difficult.
Yeah. And I had no idea, like when I went to university, I finished high school at the top of my class, and I had awards, excellence in English and all sorts of fabulous things. And I was a scholar and, you know, really feeling on top of the world. And I was on the dean's list my first year of university, but not the good one. The one that said, if you don't pull your socks up, you're out of here. It's like, what happened? Like,
yeah, probably what happened was not only if the ADHD kicks in, but also, it's suddenly the work was a lot more complex, and you didn't actually have the learning to learn skills because it had been easier.
Yes.
But now it's hard. You've got to pull back on those learning to learn skills. And when school is just done to you and you don't learn those skills, when it gets hard, I went to university and I cheated because I didn't know what to do when I failed. So I copied somebody else's essay to get an A because I didn't have learning to learn strategies.
Learning to learn. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and in Ontario, that's the first part of the report card in Ontario is the learning skills. And I tell my kids that is the most important, the learning skills. If you're doing well in the learning skills, like, yes, the academics are great, but the learning skills is where the focus is. And learning skills, guess what? Those are the executive functioning skills that our kids with ADHD struggle with. So it's almost like they have a disability in executive functioning skills, a disability in the learning skills on the report card. So you want to connect with the school and get supports in place so that they can be accommodated and supported so that they can strengthen those executive functioning and learning skills.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just looking through my notes, what people said about Sandra's interview. We talked about advocating for your child. Yeah, that was one of Sandra's big suggestions, was to advocate for your child and then to teach them the skills to advocate for themselves. Marguerite said her biggest takeaway, I love this. Her biggest takeaway from Sandra's interview was, when you have flowers growing in a garden and they're not thriving, you don't change the flowers, you change the environment, the soil, the amount of sunlight, the water. So beautiful. I love that takeaway. Jules just said, I feel so sad. We're having such a hard time with trying to educate the teachers about what ADHD is and how to support my boy. I feel like crying for you. He's being penalized for his unmet needs. I'm sharing things I've learned here, especially that if children, something just moved. I bet you says if children do well, they will. Hang on. If children will, if they can. Yeah, that's Ross Green's, right? Children do well if they can. I'm helping us all share the barriers to why he can't. Yeah, so lacking those skills or something that's going on beneath. I'm a teacher by trade too, so it's exhausting advocating and fighting for him. He's only just showing his needs at school and going off the rails as he's run out of energy. Yes. Oh, I feel for you. I feel for you. And I just had a conversation with somebody in the village yesterday about this exact same thing. She said her son has an IEP, and shouldn't the teachers know how to use that IEP? And of course the teachers should know how, but I have to say, honestly, like, some teachers are brand new to teaching. straight out of teachers college. Some teachers have more experience than other teachers. Some teachers, maybe their specialty is in gifted education, or maybe their specialty is in art or in music. Like, we're not all specialized in all the areas. So you as the parent are the expert on your child and your child's ADHD. And that's where that collaboration with parents and teachers working together is so vital. And go in with that approach that you're there to work together with the teacher, and assume that your son's teacher or your daughter's teacher has their best interest at heart. They maybe just don't know. And honestly, like, I've been teaching for 22 years, and my knowledge from, like, with ADHD, very, very, very little comes from the education I got either through teachers college or my school board. I took additional qualifications in special education because that's where my interest was. And then I became a special education teacher. And then my kids and I were diagnosed with ADHD. And so that became my passion project. But there's a misunderstanding of what ADHD is by the general public, and often by a lot of teachers. Like, they think that they can't focus and they're hyperactive, and that's kind of it. But really, we know that kids with ADHD have an abundance of attention. They're able to focus on many things at the same time with equal attention and focus. So really, yeah, what you're doing, sharing with your son's teacher, is so important. And coming at it from that lens that we're here to support together, and looking at, so if you want to go into that raw screens, kids do well if they can, look at the lagging skills. And if you can just Google raw screen lagging skills, and look at what areas your child needs to work on. And how can you collaborate with the teachers to help support those skills? Karen, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think it's the same with teachers. Teachers do the best they can with the information they have as well. And I like what Jenny just wrote. She said, I did a student handover sheet with what the kid does and what you need to do to fix that and what works. That's the conversations between teachers, parents being able to say, this is what works for my child. Having those clear conversations, because I really do think, just as we know kids are doing the best they can, teachers are, but often without the information.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you're looking for a resource to share with teachers, I always say it wrong. Caddac, CADDAC.ca. That's the Canadian website for ADHD awareness and advocacy. It was founded by Heidi Bernhardt. She was part of my first summit, but she is like the leading expert in Canada for advocating in education. And there's tons of resources on that website. And there's a section on IEPs and accommodations that you could share with the school. So I actually print those out at the beginning of the school year, and I think about what I know about my kids and kind of highlight what I think they might benefit from, and share it with the teacher. And just like I just say, this is from the ADHD website. These are areas that I think my son needs some help with. What do you think? Like, let's talk about it. And honestly, some of those strategies are helpful for all the kids in the class, not just the ones with ADHD.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
Jenny,
someone says you've got a different acronym for ADHD. I want to know what that is.
where are you reading? Thanks.
This is what user.
Yeah. So ADHD, I wonder if I have my book here. Yes. So Dr. Kenny Handelman calls it attention difference disorder. Ooh. And then some people take the word disorder right out of it because that's kind of icky. Like, ADHD can be fabulous in so many ways. So, like, let's get rid of the word disorder. And Dr. Hallowell said, instead of thinking of it as hyperactivity and attention deficit and impulse control, think about it as they're curious, they're creative, and they're full of energy. So when you think of it that way, it's not a disorder. I'm just looking at some more of these comments. Jenny said, One teacher called her a space cadet and allowed her to get away with it as the class was extremely distracting. Aw. Second school was brilliant, and we got diagnosed ADD, yet we moved to another town and a new school. The type of teacher plays a huge part in our kids, yeah. And teachers are humans too, right? They have good days and bad days and different backgrounds, and unfortunately, it's a learning lesson. Like some years you may not have a teacher who is the most beautiful match, and that's a learning opportunity, how to get along with people that are more difficult to get along with, right? And how can you make it work, and how can you turn things around? And one of those parents who don't discipline. I had nothing left to discipline with. Oh, I know. And that's where there's that shift in the parenting paradigm. It's not about disciplining the ADHD out of our kids. Like it's ridiculous. Like we've got neuroscience that backs up this need for this new parenting paradigm, that coming from a place of compassion and connection, that's where we're making the difference, not coming from a place of discipline. And recognizing too that these behaviors that we see, this is our kids' way of communicating. And what are they communicating to us? Do they have an unmet need? Are they feeling anxious or scared or worried? Are they hungry? Are they exhausted? Like what does the behavior mean? Coming from it that way is so much more powerful than trying to fix that behavior. And then once their needs are met, then we can introduce the skills that they need to learn. Okay, somebody else said, thanks, ladies. This discussion is so important. I have a very different acronym for ADHD. Yeah, I'd like to know what it is. Thank you. I will keep trying to get the teachers on board. They have a very fixed mindset about him despite all my efforts. Gentle but firm, collaborate, etc. I will keep trying and remembering they have barriers to understanding him too. Yeah, and I mean, there can be 30 kids or plus or minus in a class, and all sorts of different needs going on, and the teacher's attention is divided by all the different needs, and trying to get the curriculum taught too, right? So in your world, your 1 or 2 or 3 or however many kids you have is your whole world. But in the teacher's world, there's 30 or 32. And so, yeah, so that's where you need to collaborate and help. The teacher may not see what you're seeing, so just help bring them on board. Shay said, learning to learn skills are vital. Not intentionally taught as part by teachers, especially in high school, important for all kids, but because girls have strong coping skills, issues often don't present until high school, and so many other mental and physiological things are taking place. Advocate early. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, start noticing and advocating early. And you're right, girls tend to be the ones who do cope better in school, and that's why they're not, their ADHD isn't recognized. Or if you have a boy who has the inattentive type of ADHD, my youngest is inattentive, and the teachers really weren't seeing what I was seeing. And we went, the first round of ADHD assessment came back that he didn't have it because he's very high academically, and he's a teacher pleaser, and he gets along socially with friends. So it was missed. Here's the acronym. A is for amazing, D is for driven, H is for hyper-focused, D is for determination. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Will you post that in the group? I love it. So nice.
That's beautiful.
And she just said, I'll share the poster on your page. Thank you. Thank you. So the next speaker I'd like to talk about is Sean McCormick, and he really did a beautiful presentation. You love him? Yes. Yes. And his background too, he was a special education teacher, and now he teaches executive functioning skills, and his presentation was really lovely. I loved all the graphics and the tips. Like, he had so many beautiful tips in Google that I'm now using, like how to use templates in an email. I never knew you could do that. I was always copying and pasting and using tasks in Google as well. Becky, you said that something you learned from Sean was that writing your goals makes you 42% more likely to accomplish them. And throughout the summit, we've been talking about, we often focus on the things we don't want. Like, we don't want our kids to misbehave. We don't want our kids fighting and yelling and talking back. We don't want our kids to be late. We don't want our kids to not do their homework. So instead of focusing on what we don't want, let's put our focus on what we do want. And a nice way to do that is to write out your goals. And I'm going to invite everybody just to take a minute and think about, what do you want for your child? Like, what do you really want for your child? And if you're brave enough, type it in the comments. What do you want for your child? And after you write it in the comments or write it in your own journal, take some time really and reflect on that. Why do you really want that? What's that?
The most powerful words in the world. What focus on what you want.
Yeah. Focus on what you want.
Yeah.
Did you know that from before? Or did you just come up with that now?
No, it's not even mine. It's one of my amazing presenters that I work with, Lauren Parsons, but she talked about focus on what you want. Yeah.
Okay. So I love that on so many levels. And I'm so excited because I keep saying this throughout the summit, that the speakers in the summit are from all around the world and all different backgrounds, and we keep giving the same message. So it must be true, right? Elaine Taylor Klaus, she said, her words were, we focus on what we don't want instead of what we do want. So let's focus on what we do want. And then somebody in the group yesterday said, where your focus goes, energy flows. Yeah, but focus on what you want, because whatever you're looking for, you're going to find it. So don't go looking for what you don't want. Go looking for what you do want. And there's science behind that it sets up your reticular activating system and your subconscious to tag those things. So if I want to notice my child listening to me, if that's what I want my child to listen to me, then I'm going to notice each time my child listens to me and really focus on that. Wow, he listened to me twice today. And then maybe tomorrow it will be 3 times. I love that. Focus on what you want. Love it. Okay. So Jenny said, I always want my child to be strong, independent, compassionate human. Somebody put happiness. Becky wrote, I want my children to be understood and accepted. Becky also said she wants them to be able to live independent, successful lives. Yeah, so take some time to journal about it, write it down, because if this is what you want, put it in writing, it's more likely to come true. And then ask yourself, why do you want those things? Like, really ask yourself, why? Why is happiness so important? Why is it so important that my child is understood? Ask yourself, why is that important to you? And how are you going to make that happen? Can you set some goals, some actionable steps for how you can make that happen? So just something to play around with and to think about. Thank you. It just says Facebook user. I don't know your name. So thank you, Facebook user, for posting on my page. Audrey, what she loved about Sean was the email templates, the tasks. And then she said she wants to teach her child how to use all these things, but it's a matter of getting him to use it consistently. So just like any new skill, it's going to take practice and praise and reinforcement and time. And I have a question. Who would like Sean McCormick to come into our group to teach tech skills? So if you want Sean, just type Sean in the comments, because we've been talking about having like a Tech Tuesday where he comes in on Tuesdays and we just have a little mini lesson around technology, like one little techie tool a week. So if that's something that there's an interest in, I will ask Sean to come into the village and do that. I see. Yes, Sean. Okay. Oh, hi, Lillian. Thank you. You're the Facebook user, Lillian.
So Sean has spoken at several of my summits. He has incredible information. And every time I talk to him, I get new ideas and I'm like, put them in place, teach the students, teach my team. He's amazing.
And he's so genuine and so kind. Yeah.
He is.
Okay, so we've got lots who would like Sean to come and do some tech with us. So I will get in touch with Sean and see what he can do, work some magic. Could it be recorded so we can show our kids? Yes. So any of the lives in Facebook generally stay in Facebook, so you can scroll through. And I try to put in the title something to make it easy to find. So for example, today it's hashtag CTAF for Calming the ADHD Family, day 7. So I try to make it easy to hashtag it and find it. So I would just hashtag Sean or hashtag Tech Tuesday or whatever, so you can find it and then show it to your kids. Yeah, great idea. Okay, let's talk about Emerald. And then after Emerald, we'll get to Karen's interview. So Stacy's biggest takeaway from Emerald was that she loved the idea about getting outside and playing with your kids. Getting outside and exercising with your kids. So the kids are getting the benefit, you're getting the benefit. It's nice connection time. So yeah, that was really great, Emerald, to share that. And the importance for these ADHD bodies and brains to get out and move. Movement is necessary for the ADHD brain. And that's a message that has come. Aaron Huey talked about how important exercise is. Dr. L, Dr. Hallowell, we need to exercise for our physical health, but our brains need the exercise. And when we're exercising, we're getting the neurotransmitters and the adrenaline and the endorphins going to our prefrontal cortex, activating our prefrontal cortex, which is where the executive functioning skills take place. So actively playing outside is vital for ADHD brains. Something else that came up from Emerald's talk, some people were commenting on Dr. Hallowell's book, ADHD 2.0. Emerald talked about this in her interview. So this is like a fantastic resource, absolutely. Lisa said, oh yes, Lisa said that just because you're at home all day with your kids, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's quality time. And I just was having this discussion with Sarah Nicorek today, actually, that, we're all weekend in the house with the kids, but I've been busy doing my things. And I want to make sure, even if I take 10 minutes each day to connect with each of my kids, independent of each other, just me and the child for 10 minutes a day, that's one of my goals. So yes, just because you're in the same house doesn't mean it's quality time. You want to actually, maybe you schedule in your quality time, your 10 minutes. It could be play where the child is leading the play, or just talking about things that they want to talk about. Or, if they're playing their video games, you can sit beside them and watch them and ask them questions about their video games. Yeah. Jenny said, we bought a trampoline. Oh, yes. So much fun on a trampoline. Mm-hmm.
Very good for the brain.
Yeah.
Just that movement. You don't have to have the trampoline. You can just stand there and go like this.
Yeah.
It's not quite as fun.
My kids have even done homework out on the trampoline, because you can kind of wiggle around and bounce around while you're working. And you know what we do under the trampoline? We set up a hammock. So you get the shade from the trampoline, and that's like a nice cozy little place to have a hammock.
I want one.
Becky said, I always say my daughter is my dog because she needs to be taken outside every day or her behavior gets worse. Yeah, being outside. And if you can do it, honestly, first thing in the morning, that sunlight, if you can get sunlight on your skin first thing in the morning, that helps set your clock so you sleep better at night. So that's another benefit of exercising outside, is it improves your sleep. And we desperately want our kids to have a good sleep for our own sanity. And I mean, for theirs. Karen, Stacy watched your interview and she commented on how she loves the rainbow words behind you.
Oops,
Can you tell us the story of those words?
Oh, well, the story of the words is that I have a friend who made one and she put it on Facebook, and I said, oh, I love those. Could you make me a rainbow set? And so she did. But what you don't know is that each of them has little quotes written on them. And this one's got stars and little things that sparkle, because I love sparkly things. But I have to go to it. But if I said dream, having a dream isn't stupid. It's not having a dream. Oh, what? Having a dream isn't stupid. It's not having a dream that's stupid. Yeah. Or so they've got these beautiful, tiny little writing quotes all over them. They are just gorgeous.
Oh, so beautiful.
And
Love it.
Don't know, I am obsessed with rainbows and sunshine. So my two children's middle names in Te Reo Maori are Rainbow and Sunshine. You got to give them something. So I just love rainbows and sunshine. So I have rainbows.
And is that how you sign your emails?
Correct. Rainbows and Sunshine, Karen. Yes.
And I noticed that people on your team also have beautiful sparkly ways that they sign their names, like diamonds and sparkles. And
yes.
So
they
fun.
Cupcakes and puppies is another one. Yeah, we just want a point of difference when we sign our emails. It's like, who are we? It's not like, Lee or have a great day, or we just like, even the way we answer the phone is quite bizarre here.
How do you answer the phone?
So, yeah.
How do you answer the phone?
Oh, how do we answer it? Okay. So we say good morning or good afternoon, and then we'll say, good afternoon. It's a stunning day at Spectrum Education. This is Karen. And so we have a word, and we used to wear badges of what the word for the day was. But I own stunning, so no one else is allowed to be stunning, but they'll say day, it's a amazing day, and they just preface what the day is with how they're feeling. Now, there is a caveat to this. They can't answer the phone pissed off or cross and angry. So you're allowed to be pissed off and cross and angry. It's perfectly fine. We have badges with those too, but you just can't answer the phone with those.
I love it. I love it.
When you're finished being pissed off and angry, you can take that off and choose a positive behavior.
I love it. And it sets the tone for how the conversation is going to go. And fun for kids too, right? To expand their vocabulary with some of these fun words. I love the word gorgeous. When my son was maybe 3, my youngest, he did the voicemail and for our answering machine, and he said, "Hello, gorgeous. Leave a message," in his cute little 3-year-old voice. And I don't even know where it must have come from, a movie or something. He was always quoting movies, but I just love that.
We made it a thing we did, my husband and I, that when we answered the telephone, when the children were little, we'd say something like, "This is the proud mother of Hamish." Or we would say something that was a affirmation to our children. And so people were ringing me, so they knew it was, but he would be in the background listening. So I would say something to affirm him or my daughter.
Oh, I love that. And I love that for when you go to pick up your child from school. Just put your hand over your heart. Let yourself know. Like, I'm sure many of you can relate to this. Like, even though I'm a teacher and I loved my kids' teachers, when I would pick them up from school, I often felt so much anxiety because I was anticipating, what was the teacher going to tell me about his day? What trouble did he get into? Is the principal going to be chasing me down? Are there other parents going to be staring at me? So before you get out of your car, put your hand on your heart and remind yourself, I am safe, I am okay, and I am the proud mama of my beautiful child, and affirm your child. My child is smart and strong and sweet. And just remind yourself of that before you go pick them up from school, so that when the teacher does come to tell you about the list of things, you're in that mindset that you're affirming your child. I love that.
I think this is also true, and I know this is not what your summit's about, but to do the same thing with your partner. So my husband answers the phone. If he knows it's me, he'll pick up the phone and say, "Speak to me if you're gorgeous."
Oh.
Or he'll say, "Is that the love of my life?" And so we both have things we say, and we even program our phones without our names. Mine says a hot. So when he rings, I go, "Ooh, hot guy."
Oh, that's fun.
So those playful things, but also those, because it's easy to go into that negative language.
Yeah. And you know what? Even though the summit is focusing on children, what I've learned is that you need to take care of yourself first. And this is from Aaron Huey. At the end of each one of his podcasts, he says, take care of yourself first, your adult relationship second, your children third. And how often do we have that order completely mixed up, where to be a good mom means I put my children first? How often do we have that thought? But really, take care of yourself first, your adult relationship, and then your kids. So yeah, I love that, what you and your husband do. I'm going to talk to my husband and see if we could do something fun like that too. Like, why not have some fun? Like, there's so much stress. Why not have some fun too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Karen, Jenny mentioned that she grabbed your app and how useful it is. So maybe you could just talk to us, for those who haven't had a chance to see your interview or check out your app yet. Could you let us know about it?
Yeah, sure. So it's called the I Study Alarm. Let me just work out how to do this.
I Study Alarm.
All one word. And basically what it does is it times your child for 40 minutes to do a task, or you do 20 minutes of homework, or you do, say, we're just going to do this for 20 minutes. So you press the backwards start button, times you for 20 minutes. When you've finished your 20 minutes, it gives you a 3-minute break, just a break to see what you've done, check in, finish off something, and then it gives you a 5-minute break. So it's a little shift and change on the Pomodoro technique, but it's great when they're doing their homework, when they're older. It's great if you've got a quick to do. You can just put the on and get them to go for it for 20 minutes.
I love that.
It also has 27 study tips embedded within it, break ideas, exam tips. It has a whole lot of things.
I study app. Is that what it's called?
Yep. Let me show you.
I Study Alarm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what is the price of this app, Karen?
Free.
Yay!
No in-app purchases. No, it says there is, but there's not. No advertising, just pure app.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. My youngest has homework tonight.
Oh, good.
And we went out, we had family time today, and we said, when we get back from family time, it's homework time. So we walked in the house. I said, what are you going to do? My homework. Okay. 2 minutes later, he's on video games. What are you supposed to be doing? My homework. I'm just going to finish this one thing, and then I'm going to do the homework. And I'm kind of doing an experiment, because I said to him, I don't want to be the one who nags you. You know you have the homework to do. You know what to do, and you know it's not too hard. He just doesn't want to do it. So I've let him do it. And then he said, well, I'll do it after dinner. I said, after dinner, I can't help you because I'm doing a live. So what are you going to do? So after this talk, I'm going to go check in on him, see how he's doing. And if he hasn't done it yet, I'm going to try that app and, maybe just set it for 10 minutes to start with.
Yeah, you can't change it on the app, but you can use anything else just to do a 10-minute thing.
Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is with video games is that is, as you know, is entertaining all the neurons in the brain, and it's visual, auditory, kinesthetic. It's covering all your learning styles. It's all consuming, and it's far more exciting. I tell teachers they should have an Xbox in the back corner, and your lessons need to be more exciting than the Xbox.
Yeah.
So that kids want to do your lesson, but often, doing homework isn't exciting. Mm-hmm. So just short, sharp bursts on it, and then if they can, use the video games and whatever they want to be doing as a reward.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a life skill, isn't it? Look, as adults, none of us are perfect. We all go into procrastination. We all go and do things we shouldn't, knowing we should be doing something else. So, yeah, it's just a life skill that we're all working on.
And sometimes like letting them, like, I don't want to spend my whole Sunday being an egg. So if he doesn't want to do his homework, then he's not going to do his homework. He's going to go to school tomorrow, and then he's going to feel pretty crummy when the teacher's collecting the homework, and that's a natural consequence.
Correct. I actually never nagged about homework. Wasn't my problem. It was theirs. And they had a teacher who didn't care, then they didn't care either. If they had a teacher who they knew was going to check up and there were consequences, then they did it. So it wasn't my job to do that. It was not my job to sign their diary every day to say I'd seen their homework. It's like, not my job. I'm the parent. You're the teacher. You're teaching them to be responsible for their learning. I now help, but yeah, don't be the nag.
Yeah.
I'll learn.
Yeah, I have to wonder too, like, why do I want him to get his homework done?
Yeah. Reflection
Why?
of your parent.
Mm-hmm.
Could be.
Yep. I'm going to let him figure it out. I will offer help one more time. Everybody wish me luck because I want him to do his homework. I want him to do the homework.
You don't want the teacher to go, that child's mother never helps, never does this. That's what you're fearful of, probably. You don't want to be labeled as that parent, but it's got nothing to do with you. It's got
that parent is a teacher too. You would think that the teacher's kid would get the homework done, right?
Well, you do know that the teachers all say teachers' kids are the worst ones. Perhaps because we know more than we are letting on.
Yeah, but you're right. Like it's our job to be their parents, not their teachers.
Yeah.
Jenny said, when we were in lockdown, our teacher said it's not my place as a parent to stress the work. It is her job. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, that lockdown, man. Oh man, trying to get our kids to be working virtually while we're all working from home. Like, Becky, my daughter likes to tell me that she has homework right before she has dance or going to bed. My son is the same. He'll be laying in bed, falling asleep, and then he'll say, "Oh, I forgot I have homework."
Yeah. But don't we all do that too? So we're all like just in bed and then go, oh, I haven't made the lunches. Or, oh, I haven't done. Or, so this is, again, a life skill. It's not just for our kids. It's stuff that we are doing. So it's normal stuff. And, but we have to get into some pain to actually get ourselves to perhaps go into action.
We have this cute little painted rock that we keep on the table at my youngest son's spot. And when the painted part is upside, that means do you have homework? Do you need to check your Google Classroom? And once he's done the homework or checked the Google Classroom, he just turns it over the other way. And that way it doesn't have to be this big, long discussion. I can just kind of point to the rock, and that's the reminder, go check the Google Classroom. Okay, it's done. Flip it over there. Now we don't need to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
Jenny says she makes her child do the homework first thing in the morning.
Yeah. So I don't know if I said this in the interview, but my son, when he was 14, we had some strict rules. And so we had rules that you couldn't, there was no technology allowed in the bedroom ever. And they had to be in bed in their bedrooms by 9 p.m. at night. Just because my husband and I were sick of them by then. They didn't have to go to sleep, but he's 14. He comes to me at 5 to 9 and says, I haven't done my homework. And it's big. I've just remembered it. It's a big thing. It's due tomorrow. And I said, well, you've got 5 minutes. And he said, no, you don't understand. I need the computer. And I said, we've got 5 minutes. There's computers, everything shuts off in our house at 9 p.m. And you're in your room. And so he does 3 things that all 14-year-old boys probably go through to change their mother's mind. First of all, he begs. I will do anything. I will do, he begs. Then he screams and yells, "You're the worst mother in the world. I hate you," the guilt. And then he does what every 14-year-old boy does to change his mother's mind. He cries. The tears go down his face.
Did that work?
No, see, that's just strategies. Because you see, as soon as that strategy doesn't work, they stop crying. He's not acting up. It's a strategy. So I'm like, "You've got 30 seconds. And he then goes, "Will you wake me up at 6 o'clock in the morning, please? And can I do it then?" I'm like, "Sure." So I get him up at 6. He does it faster and quicker than he would have done it the night before.
When he's tired.
He learned that, maybe getting up early in the morning is a great time for me to be able to work. And he's been doing that ever since.
Oh, wow.
So because I held my boundary, he learned a lesson that was really important, and perhaps I facilitated that learning of that lesson. It's that's how it worked for him. Yeah.
And those boundaries are what makes kids feel safe.
Correct.
Especially when they have ADHD. And good for you, Mama, for not backing down. Like, that's so hard, especially when they're crying.
And especially when they're telling you you're the worst mother in the world, it feels like, well, perhaps I am, and perhaps I've got it all wrong. But you got to hold those boundaries because, and I've just learned that they just snap out of it. The next 20 minutes later, you're the best mother in the world. So they don't really mean it.
And it doesn't matter anyway. It really doesn't matter whether they say you're the best or the worst. Like I heard somebody today say, what other people think of you, other people's thoughts of you are none of your business.
Absolutely. We say that as presenters all the time when you're on the stage. I just got to be me. I've got to be authentic. And if you don't like me, that's not my problem. It's not my business. Yeah. I've got to be likable, but yeah.
Any final tips or strategies for homework to make it a little easier for parents?
I said a lot in the interview, but I think, again, I'll just say what I said at the end. If it's too hard, don't do it. Just let it go. You're their parent. Go have fun with them. Go do parent things with them. Go, jump on the trampoline. Go and cook together. Go and just have experiences together. Don't worry about the homework. The homework will either get done or it won't. Even with 2 years of lockdowns, and we've pushed and pushed and pushed, these kids are going to be okay.
Yes.
They're going to catch up, or they're just going to learn what they need to learn when they learn it. And just have that wonderful parent connection.
Lovely. Yeah. Connection, right? You want the connection. That your connection with your child is so much more important than the homework getting done.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, everybody, thank you for joining us. Remember, if you've watched this later, just type in #replay so we know that you're here. If you have more questions for Karen, you can always post them on this thread or underneath Karen's thread. I'm sure, Karen, you'll be in the group checking things out.
I have been, and I've been amazed at what you have created, Lara. I want to thank you for your service. I want to thank you for your heart, because this is such an incredible thing to do, to really just help those parents and people out there who are struggling, and even just with 1-2 little ideas that you can share. But you've brought so many. So thank you for what you do.
Oh, thank you. And thank you so much for being a part of it, Karen.
My pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
So all you parents out there, if you're in the future on Monday, have a great day. If you're in the present like me, have a great night. Thank you for joining us. You still have about 3 or 4 hours to watch the rest of the videos from today. And then tomorrow's our last day. Tomorrow is all about the brain-body connection. We're going to have Linda Lukovic come and join us. She's the ADHD Village's holistic nutritionist. So you're going to want to tune in to see what she has to say. We have a new person in our village who will be talking to us about the connection between toileting and ADHD. Alma and Bob are returning again. They were in the first summit. They're going to be talking about how you can improve your child's behavior naturally with some really cool brain hacks. And then we have the ADHD mama, Lara Von Poirier. She's going to be talking about motivation and how you can understand what your child and what your motivational style is. So maybe that's why my little guy isn't doing his homework. Maybe we haven't tuned into the right motivational style. So you want to tune in yesterday to find out about motivation. And then Tuesday, there's no more videos. There's no more lives. We're taking a break on Tuesday, but I hope Wednesday you'll join me for the masterclass, and that will be in Zoom. And as soon as I can figure out the technology, we'll be Zooming it into Facebook too. And that's the Keep Cool masterclass. So we're going to be talking about the ADHD brain, what triggers you, and how you can tame your triggers so that you can have a more calm, confident, connected family. So thank you for joining. Sending you all lots of love.
Thank you.
Good luck on the homework. Thank you, Becky. I think I'm going to need it. Bye.